Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, and in today's video, we got some breaking news in the NFL. A lot has been going on in the NFL today. Players have been cut, players have requested trades, and some players have re-signed. Today, we're going to be talking about a player that requested a trade from their team and a player that just got cut. Both of them are receivers, by the way, so you may be able to tell who the players are judging by the thumbnail. Before we get into today's video, make sure y'all leave a like down below, subscribe if you're not already subbed up, and turn on notifications. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. So at this point, you guys have probably already seen the news. DK Metcalf, Seahawks receiver, has requested a trade from the Seahawks, and the Seahawks will be looking into trade options for DK Metcalf. So we've heard over the past really week or so that DK Metcalf could be a potential option when it comes to a receiver available for trade, right? And I thought that the Seahawks weren't going to do it, right? Like, they're already going to release Tyler Lockett. Like, that was pretty obvious, and they did it today. So they clear money by doing that. And if you were to trade DK Metcalf, you'd only have Jackson Smith and Njigba, right? So you do need another receiver across from Njigba. However, the Seahawks have decided, or Metcalf decided, to request a trade from the Seahawks, and this is mainly because Metcalf wants a new contract, right? He has one more year left on his contract, and let me search up his contract here. Should have pulled it up before I started recording, but he signed a 3-year, $72 million contract extension back in 2022, and he has 1 year remaining, and his cap hit for this upcoming season is $31.8 million. So that's what a team would be acquiring if they were to trade for DK Metcalf. And not only would a team be acquiring that $31.8 million cap hit, but they'd also have to pay DK Metcalf. He wants a new contract. He's 27 years old, so he gets an extension now. He'll probably be 30 or 31 once that extension is up, right? So he wants a new deal. Don't think he has much or any guaranteed money left on the last year of his deal, right? So he wants a new deal, and a team would have to give him that money. And also a team would have to, give the Seahawks possibly a first-round pick, but probably a second-round pick. And there's been reports that have said that the Seahawks want a receiver back if they were to trade DK Metcalf, right? So not only just a pick, a high pick, probably a second-round pick, but they would also want a receiver back as well, right? I don't know how true those reports are, but I've seen some reports that have said that. And immediately I think of the Packers, right? They would make sense for a DK Metcalf. They have Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, so they could give up one of those guys along with the second-round pick and maybe acquire DK Metcalf that way. So I could definitely see a team like the Packers trying to trade for DK Metcalf. Other teams as well, the Chargers and Patriots. The Patriots have a whole lot of cap space and they need a receiver, and well, DK Metcalf would definitely help them fill that void. And the Chargers are also looking for a receiver, and DK Metcalf would help them fill that void as well. And he would be able to stay out in the West Coast, which would be great for him. Now, when it comes to the Commanders potentially trading for DK Metcalf, I'm just going to say it right now, it's not going to happen. And here's why. And I know a lot of fans want him. I've already seen a lot of fans on social media, specifically Twitter, say they want DK Metcalf. It's not going to happen. We already traded for Deebo Samuel, and we're going to have to pay Deebo $17 million this year, right? Not too bad, right? But if you trade for DK Metcalf, you would have to pay him. And you're already paying a good amount of money to your receiver room. I mean, obviously Deebo Samuel's $17 million. You're also going to have to extend Terry pretty soon. His contract for this year, or his money this year, is not bad, but in the future, going to have to pay Terry quite a bit, right? He's going to make $30 million a year, which is well deserved, by the way, for Terry. Like, I've seen some fans, not a lot of fans, but some fans on social media say that Terry isn't worth that. He's worth that, all right? And that's just how the receiver market works. As another guy gets paid more, the other guy will get paid more, right? So it goes up and up every single year. So you don't really want to put in so much money into the receiver room, right? Obviously, it's a need, and we still need to acquire more receivers, and we will. But acquiring a guy like DK Metcalf, you'd have to extend him. Probably going to cost $30+ million a year. You're already going to pay Terry $30+ million a year when he gets his extension. And you're paying Debo $17 million a year, or $17 million this year, right? So that's a lot of money. Like, combined, that is a whole lot of money. So I don't know if trading for DK Metcalf would be a great decision financially wise. And also, another thing on DK Metcalf, he's a big dude. 6'3", 225, 230 pounds. He's a big dude. However, he doesn't really use his size as you kind of expect him to, right? You expect him to be this great contested catcher who uses his size to just, make great contested catches over defenders, right? But not really what DK Metcalf does. He's more of a speed guy, and he has great speed, by the way, 4.3 speed, so he has great speed. But he kind of acts like he's a smaller, shiftier receiver, right? Not like the size he is, 6'3", 220, 225 pounds, who has great speed. He kind of just acts like he has speed and is a smaller guy, right? So the fact that he is so big and he doesn't use his size the way he's supposed to, kind of concerning, right? Now, would that dissuade me from trading for a guy like DK Metcalf? If the price is right, if it's not too expensive to trade for him and, extend him, which I think is going to be both of that. Like, it's going to be expensive to trade for him and pay him. But say it's not as expensive to do those things, then I'll be in for it. But right now, I'm not super interested in trading for DK Metcalf just because not sure if the fit would be amazing, and also he'd be very expensive to acquire. Going over Metcalf's stats real quick, he's put up 3 1,000 plus yard seasons in 2022, 2023, and in 2020. In 2020, had over 1,300 yards, 2022, over 1,000 yards, and in 2023, had over 1,100 yards. And this past season, only had 992 yards, but he did miss 2 games and only started in 12 games. So, obviously, in his career, Metcalf has put up amazing production. And once again, if we somehow acquire him in a trade, I'll be happy with it. Like, him, Debo, and Terry, that would be an amazing trio, but I'm not sure how great the fit would be, and he would be expensive, and I just don't know if I want to put so many resources into the receiver room, right? Because you're already going to extend Terry. You're paying Debo a lot of money, or a good amount of money, right? And you would have to pay DK as well. So that's a lot of resources you're putting into your receiver room, right? So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about the Commanders potentially acquiring a guy like DK Metcalf in a trade. So since it is unlikely that we trade for DK Metcalf, who else could we target at the receiver position? Let me introduce you to Christian Kirk, and I don't have to introduce you guys to him. You guys know who he is, but he was released today by the Jaguars, which was pretty much expected. They cleared $10.4 million by doing so. And Christian Kirk, man, to be honest with you, and, some fans may not agree with me, and it's fine, right? We don't have to have the same opinions, but I would prefer Christian Kirk over DK Metcalf. And here's why. From a cap space wise, from a money wise, he would be the better option. Christian Kirk would be the better option. He'd be cheaper. My guess is he costs like 10 to 12, maybe 10 to $15 million a year, which isn't too bad, right? I would expect us to sign Christian Kirk to like a 2-year deal, maybe a 1-year prove it, but probably a 2-year deal, because he is a guy that would come and be your immediate slot option, only 28 years old, right? So he still has some really good football left ahead of him. This past season with the Jaguars, didn't do a whole lot, 379 yards, 1 touchdown, but keep in mind that he only played in 8 games, and he broke his collarbone midway through the season, right? So that's why he didn't have amazing production this past season. The year before, though, he played in 12 games and had 787 yards and 3 touchdowns. So just imagine the stats he could have had if he played all 17 games, right? The year before had over 1,100 yards with the Jags and 8 touchdowns. That was his first year with the Jaguars, 2022. And in his last year with Arizona, 2021, played in all 17 games, 77 catches, 982 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So once again, in my opinion, Christian Kirk would fit very well in this offense, and he played in Arizona from 2018 to 2021. Guess who was his head coach during that time? Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff has spoken on Christian Kirk numerous times, and he loves Kirk. He has spoken so highly of Kirk, and look, man, I know he wants him bad, and I know he's probably going to AP. He's probably met with AP today and has tried to convince AP to, hey man, that's my guy. I would be able to do great things with him, right? And he would be, right? Like, imagine a receiver trio of Terry, Debo, and Kirk. That would be great. Terry as your bona fide receiver one, Debo as your second weapon who can do it all, line up on the outside, in the slot, in the backfield. You'd be able to use Debo in a variety of ways, and then have Christian Kirk as your third option. He would be your legit slot receiver, and he's proven to be a very good one in the NFL. So to me, Christian Kirk is a more realistic option than DK Metcalf because of fit, and he's going to be cheaper than DK Metcalf, and in my opinion, I would sign him. If we're interested in Christian Kirk, hey man, I would definitely go after him if I were Adam Peters & Co. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below who you'd rather have between DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk. Do you see either of the options as realistic, and who would you grab? Me personally, once again, I would prefer Christian Kirk. Not saying DK Metcalf, I wouldn't like him, because if we traded for him, I would really like it, right? Like, he offers size, and although he doesn't use his size like he's supposed to, maybe here in Washington he could do that, right? But he also has really, really good speed and would be a legit receiver too on the opposite side of Terry, right? But he will be very expensive, and you would have to give up a lot of capital for him, or high capital for him, right? And we already don't have a bunch of draft picks, so trading for a guy like DK Metcalf would be a little risky because we would lose draft picks, and we already don't have a bunch. So getting a cheaper option like Christian Kirk, who would be a great slot option for you, and he would fit greatly as your receiver 3. He would do wonders with Cliff and Jaden as his quarterback. That is my guy right there, and it kind of feels like he will be a Commander. We'll see. The receiver market is kind of weak, so Kirk may have a really good market, but if he's interested in coming here, and if we're interested in signing him, then I see no reason as to why he should not be a Commander. So other than that, it's been Kayshawn, and I'm out. Peace.